I gotta rename the stream because OBS never updates it when I actually like tell it to update through OBS.
Oh yeah.
It's really dumb.
I agree. I do agree, by the way, that the casting for Aang is pretty good. It's just that the kid can't act.
Yeah. Alright, time to update the one on Twitch.
I also don't like how tribal his tattoos look. Like they're fine, but I think they went too overboard.
Alright, they should be updated. I do agree. I think that's dumb.
I think it was a neat idea they were going for, so it looks a little more realistic, but I think they went way too far with it.
Um so anyways, it's officially begun, Donovan.
We're live?
We've been live for like 2 minutes.
I knew that.
But I'm officially starting the root of all evil right here and now.
That sounds good.
So this is a review of The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan. Get that out of the way. A shitty intro. Uh, Furthermore, I just watched it a few hours ago. Donovan is watching it right now.
Live.
Um, and at the same time, the only times in the past that we've seen it is when we've respectively watched it in theaters once.
Both on opening day and the day right after. So
Yes.
it has been as long as possible.
So, the movie sucks. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now.
Yep.
What a shock.
Yep.
Um, where exactly are you right now?
Uh I am the Fire Nation's showing up to their village.
Okay, so I mentioned this earlier to you, Donovan. I
Yes.
noticed a lot of people like to shit on the movie because Katara and Sokka, I mean, are white.
Yeah.
Uh, ultimately at the end of it all, I think it's ultimately a director's decision in regards to race when casting.
Yeah.
So if they write it to respect the race, I think it's just kind of fine. Like a good example is a lot of Marvel characters have their physical identity traits altered in the
Yeah, of
MCU,
course.
but it does it kind of tastefully, and
Yeah.
it's not like it's like so stuck out that it just alters your ability to understand the depth of the world itself. Um, in The Last Airbender, Katara and Sokka are white, while the vast majority, at least, of all the other water tribesmen, are Native American.
Hmm.
Uh, that doesn't exactly establish good like world establishment
Yeah.
because races are a thing. It's a
Oh yeah.
concept,
You mentioned
and
earlier
races
that
are centralized in certain
you
areas.
you mentioned earlier that Zuko's burn looks like a first degree burn.
I'll take it
Uh,
back. It looks like
I
a
I've
second degree burn.
yeah I've seen like cosplayers on minimum budgets have better makeup than that.
Yeah. Eh, like it's the burn was in the show. The burn was from freaking Ozai just touching Zuko's face. and then using firebending, like direct contact,
Yeah.
a permanent burn scar for the rest of his life. In this, it looks awful. It never actually establishes if the way he got his burn mark was exactly the same, if it was a direct contact touch or not.
Hmm.
Um, but regardless, I'm going to naturally assume facts they do not immediately establish within the movie itself are going to be facts carried over that you should just know from the show.
Yeah.
So, as far as we know, either it's completely different or it's exactly the same. So, I'm going to assume it's exactly the same. The burn mark does not look like a hand touched him. It also doesn't look like that severe of a burn. Just enough of a burn
No.
to leave a scar, but
Just enough.
just on the skin level. It looks really bad.
Yeah.
By the way, I wasn't streaming yet when you were talking about the water ball.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The water ball.
so a quick recap of that, and I have the same opinion.
Yeah.
She struggles because she's a novice waterbender to waterbend a sphere.
Which is good directing.
Yes. The water just gradually falls out of the sphere, but the ball itself just doesn't like deflate, I guess you would
Yeah.
say.
And that I feel like that's going to happen a lot in the movie. I'm just now to where Aang goes with Zuko to the ship, but I feel like that's going to happen a lot in this movie where they have decent ideas and like Shyamalan is a good director, but I feel he just didn't have the passion to make this as much as he thought he had when he started the project because a lot of it's like half written almost or half baked.
It
And
it it more feels like he had passion not to make a movie, but passion to just to make some scenes. That's what it
yeah,
felt like after I watched it.
yeah,
Um, and of course, it ends up being inferior in almost every way
mm-hmm,
to the show, but there are some scenes that are genuinely like well directed. Just they fall apart just from the fact that it's child actors,
yeah,
which, you can't get around that unless you cast freaking adults, but then you'd have to rewrite everything to
yep.
accommodate that. So, I'm not going to give any forgiveness pity points or whatever
Oh
about
no,
it, but it leaves room to understand, and I feel like that's worth mentioning.
I'd say so.
Um so by this
Uh,
point he's already broken out of the ship, hasn't he?
no,
Oh
not yet.
really? Yeah, then
Grandma is talking to the kids.
oh, I forgot it jumps to that scene. I'm
Yeah,
not even
I want to
joking.
mention, by the way, that the guy they cast for fucking Firelord Ozai uh is the main character in Fear the Walking Dead. Uh, I just think that's funny. And also, if I'm correct in my suspicion, let me check. Yep, I was right. The guy that plays Admiral Zhao, which is like the leading antagonist of season one, is the pizza guy in Spider-Man 2 that says "Go," and I think that is the funniest thing I've heard all day.
um
Now everyone knows
what else is there to mention about the intro of the movie?
it. You can tell off the back that uh, within the direction and the writing, they think the audience is stupid because whenever Zuko is talking to Aang and Aang's like, "I don't have to tell you shit, bro. Get off my face." Zuko says firebenders instead of just saying like soldiers or like snapping his fingers or something. So it's like, oh, you have to tell the audience that these are firebenders, even though 3 minutes ago in the introduction uh, text it said that the firebenders were the bad guys.
Yeah, and also they firebend. Uh,
Yeah,
that's another thing you'll quickly pick up on if you haven't already. All of the common soldiery knows how to firebend, whereas in the show, um, not every Fire Nation soldier knows how to firebend. Um,
Yeah.
that's just it's something to mention.
Yeah.
It makes it seem a lot more like they only recruit firebenders into the
Mhm.
army, which again, I guess that makes sense as a leader if you want like a strong army,
Yeah.
but it's just another deviation from the show. And maybe they would have shown Fire Nation soldiers that don't know how to firebend if the movies continued, but they didn't. So, yeah,
I want to
it
mention
just kind of
too.
irks me a little bit.
I'm to the scene now where Iroh's putting shit in front of him for him to mess with. One, bending is not a subconscious thing, so he wouldn't just be like doing this for no reason.
Yeah,
So that's
you're talking
stupid.
about the test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's really stupid. And secondly, he could not earthbend like at all when he started.
that is
Uh,
correct. Um,
so there's that.
there is also another thing. I'm actually asking you this because I'm not 100% certain.
Uh-huh.
In the show, did Aang need to learn the elements in the cycles order, or was it just how it turned out being?
That's just how it turned out. Because if you remember, he tried learning fire while he was still waterbending.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, I
and
remember
the
that.
only reason he stopped is because he burned Katara.
That's right. Then okay, now that that fact has been established, the movie changes that he needs to follow the Avatar cycle
Yeah.
for learning the elements. Um, which would imply another thing that creates a plot hole. Um, if he can subconsciously just, affect other elemental bending,
Hmm.
like during that test, um, he hasn't even learned water bending at all yet, for one
No.
thing. So, by the movie's own rules, he should not even be able to physically even begin bending earth or fire.
Yeah. I want to mention too. It's really stupid how he just does a little pose when he pulls out his staff and like extends the wings on it, and then he just like turns around and runs like a retard. Um, Also, when he jumps off of the boat, he's still holding it on like the middle pole part of it. So I can't imagine it was very easy for him to hold it properly before he hit the water. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that does remind me. There's another thing about how bending works in the movie, and I will also just go ahead and say it's inconsistent. But um, for the most part, at least, uh, the way that benders bend is by doing a type of like dance routine type
Yeah.
thing. And it's just like if they perfect the form and they are even able to bend, the bending just occurs as a result. And again, it's inconsistent. There are moments where the bending like starts prepping up in the middle of their little routine, but for the most part, it's just like that. Like there's a moment near the end of the movie where Aang does this whole freaking like dance thing,
Hmm.
and not a single amount of air is bent the entire time until, I'm not even kidding, he lands the last little step in the routine, and then
Uh-huh.
a whole tornado just like comes out of nowhere
Awesome.
with no build up. It-
Also, I think the CG for Momo and Appa are fine for the time. I think the faces are a bit odd, or not just a bit, but like not like even close to being good.
there are moments where Aang touches Appa, and Appa's fur doesn't even move, and it doesn't even look like Aang has reached his body.
I can't wait to see it.
It's weird.
Um,
Um,
how, how far are we into the
for the most
movie?
part, Momo actually does look consistently good throughout the movie as a CG creature.
Hmm. It's just the face is just
Yeah,
off.
the faces just look weird, but the actual CG on its own is like really. fine. It doesn't interact with the people acting very well, but the CG
Yeah.
itself looks fine. Um, where are you now, so I can shit on this movie more?
He just stepped on Monkey Atsu's fucking elbow. Um, yeah, the kid's acting is it takes away from any scene like this in the movie. And on top of that, the like I said earlier, the airbending tattoos on him are just too distracting. They're just way too much.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
they could have just done the solid color like the show and just
yeah.
made it
Just
like
this.
a they could have made it a more subdued dull color so it's not too distracting, but it looks odd with just the designs and stuff.
Aang also goes into the Avatar state.
He's doing that right now.
Many times through the movie.
Yeah.
Um, and with that, uh, people still question if he's even the Avatar. And like the best it goes is people have like complete faith and belief that he's the Avatar, but they
uh-huh.
don't truly accept that he's the Avatar.
Uh-huh.
And on top of that, he doesn't really like go through any emotional like you know how that freaking guru dude like told him to go through like the eight like dimensions or whatever,
Hmm.
unlock his chakras and shit to truly unleash the Avatar state and have control over it. He never goes through that journey at
Hmm.
all, and
Yeah.
seemingly has perfect control over the Avatar state. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
it's like again, like the decisions can be made that ultimately change the actual universe itself because it is its own version of the plot.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I would like to mention too before I forget this first scene where he goes into the Avatar state. You don't really, as soon as he goes into it, you just go into like him in the dream world or whatever, the spirit realm, whatever, and he's talking to the dragon for a second. You don't see the consequences of him going into it like that through his emotions, and I feel that kind of takes away from the scene.
yeah, that's something I was about to mention earlier. The characters they always have emotional breakthroughs, like
Hmm.
in regards to like the resolve or whatever. But you never actually see the build up ever
No.
in the movie. Not once. I'm not kidding. Not once. You just see them encounter a conflict, and then it will like jump. Like most of the times, it's because it switches scenes in the middle of a scene, and then it'll come
Hmm.
back, and it's like they'll like have a big old smile, dramatic music plays, they're on the verge of tears or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
just like, I can fight now.
Yeah.
The only dramatic scene in regards to emotions that's actually like properly expressed is Sokka falling in love with Yue. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't do a whole lot there, but it sure does show that they, because again they are kids. Kids just kind of crush on each other. Um,
Hmm.
they just kind of eyeball each other, start getting the fifis, and then it shows them walking around because Sokka becomes Yue's guard.
Hmm.
And they just kind of fall in love or something.
Yeah.
Uh, and then of course Yue has to sacrifice herself to become the new moon spirit. And it doesn't take away from that scene at all.
Yeah.
Uh, that's the only exception.
I find it also odd going back to General Zhao, like I was talking about earlier. He's probably the most miscast character I've seen so far in the movie. Because for one, he's like a foot shorter than Zuko, and it's just he's supposed to be an intimidating man. He's supposed to be like in his prime as a warrior and stuff. and it's a really odd miscast. I think Iroh's also fairly miscast. I think the guy does well enough, but it just doesn't match the character a lot.
He doesn't sound like a wise old man. He sounds like a
No.
middle-aged man that already has a bit of wisdom, but
Yeah.
he himself is not wise.
Yeah. Like I said, the guy himself does a good enough job in the role, but he just I feel like this movie is just a bunch of people that got together and didn't know what they were getting themselves into. You know?
They had scripts with like names like dotted out and shit.
Yeah, they
They
probably all
didn't
got
know.
into a room. They all got into a room and were like, "Hey, do you want to make a live action film for this really popular Nickelodeon series?" And they said, "Sure. What is it?" And they said Avatar, and they said, "What?" And they said Avatar: The Last Airbender. Have you
Eh,
seen it? And they go, "No, but I'll still be in it."
oh, Avatar.
Avatar.
I've heard of that. Literally, one person in the room has at least heard of it, and he thinks it's pronounced Avatar, so everyone pronounces it Avatar.
Yeah, probably.
Ugh. I can't wait until you get to the iconic uh, Earth Village,
Earthbending.
the
Yeah,
Earth Village prison break scene, um, where they literally show up, Aang, or excuse me,
yeah,
Ong, um, sees Earthbenders, being prisoners, and he's just like, Where's your pride? Where's your Saiyan pride? Earth's all around you. You are the Earth." Whatever
yeah.
he says, and then they're all like, "Oh, this little kid's speech." With, by the way, they have no evidence he's the Avatar
None.
until the moment he airbends.
Yeah.
Uh, so literally up until that moment where he airbends, they are all still like cowering in fear, which means his
Hmm.
speech itself was not what rallied their spirits. It was just,
No.
"Oh, the Avatar's back." Ha! So he,
Yeah.
it's, it, it's like a cool speech, I guess, but like it sounds like a kid making a speech trying to sound like an adult, which is actually perfectly in line with Aang.
Yeah.
But if the actual results of the speech is that the fire prison wardens just kind of just say, "Hey, fuck you. You're not the Avatar unless you can
Yeah.
airbend." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Then he
Yeah.
airbends, and then everyone's like, "Ooh!" And then they fight. They have a funny fight scene that lasts almost 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel
it's
if they really wanted to set up for the next movie, the scene where he's trying to hype up the Earthbenders, I think that would have been a good time to actually world build and have him talk about Boomy or something.
wait, world build.
Yeah, like if they really wanted to sit down and make this a good movie, they could have done that.
No, 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 no.
Nah, 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 nah.
World building is only for good movies.
You're right.
This movie would have never been good because Shyamalan had the helm.
I think it's really odd that they gave it to him.
Oh, man. Like, thinking on that scene a little more, it's like, sure, it looks really stupid that it took like 4 or 5 Earthbenders to do this whole freaking thing just to send one small ass rock, you know?
Yeah,
And then the Fire Nation dude literally stands in its path until it finally hits him and does nothing to defend himself. Like, sure, that alone is dumb,
yeah.
but the thing that really took me out of it wasn't even all that. It was, where the fuck did that rock come from? It literally comes in, oh, like above the halfway mark vertically on the screen, going
Uh-huh.
perfectly horizontal across the screen. It's like, oh, that's a real rock that they tied a string to.
Yeah,
Like everything else just looks dumb, but it's perfectly in line with the universe it's establishing as much as it's establishing one.
Yeah. I want to mention too, the first guy that earthbends, he like threw the rock at the firebender and then immediately like put up the wall to save himself. But the next time the firebenders went to attack him, he was just gonna hold his son and die. Like he wasn't defending himself at all. The other guys saved him.
That's
It's
true.
it's really odd how they have characters do one thing and then just kind of buzz off because they want to do other things. Also, whenever Zuko or the other soldier at the water tribe saw Aang's tattoos, they were like, "Yeah, this is a fucking avatar." But then, whenever he shows up in the Earth Village and the Firebenders see him, they're like, "You're not an Airbender unless you can airbend," and he has the tattoos, and it's like, is that just not a common thing for people to know, even though their entire people wiped out the air people?
I can
Like,
I can kind of get it
I can
because
I can kind of get it too, but when that's like the only person you're looking for in the world, you should know that's what airbenders look like.
well, I mean like think about it. All right, the air nomad, they've been wiped out about 100 years before the events of
Yeah,
this. Uh, that's at least two generations of people that just don't even know what the air nomads look like at all.
fair enough.
Maybe only like this isn't like a high information like society at all. You
Hmm.
know, they don't. Maybe the Fire Nation does because they have good technology, but none of the other nations have like all these like cool gadgets that can just communicate with each other and send pictures and shit. So only scholars would be able to know what an air nomad's clothes are, what they even look like. You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
So I can kind of get it that literally who's from the Fire Nation soldiery would
yeah.
not just immediately know what an air nomad dresses like. The only
Yeah.
thing they do know is that if there is an airbender, in all likelihood, it's probably the Avatar.
Man, I just noticed too. I didn't notice this when I was a kid because it happened in literally like 20 seconds. The second Earth village they're shown saving, like that has an actual like scene to it. It's Kyoshi Island, and there's no Kyoshi warriors, so they were just gonna completely ignore that in the movies, I assume.
Yeah, there are no Kyoshi warriors. There is a statue of Avatar Kyoshi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was on screen for like 5 seconds,
Yeah.
and they said her name once, and that's why I missed it when I was a
This
kid. I
is
just don't remember
Avatar
it.
Kyoshi. She was one of your previous lives. She liked to play video games. And Aang's like, I like to play video games. Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
I still like to play video games.
yeah, because him saying I like to play video games should be in the past tense apparently, and he has to make it clear that he still does. That's really odd. Sometimes the script just loses me. Like who did this make sense to?
Uh,
You know?
when you think about it in the show, all of the avatars, they obviously share the same soul in all, but
Uh
they are distinct lives.
yeah,
They all have the same like basic natures in the movie, which is, what the air nomads tested Aang to see if he was the avatar because he picked the same four toys that all the previous air nomad avatars ever
yeah,
picked. So I guess that those types of things make sense that they would have the same basic natures as a
uh
child, but none of them are raised the same, you know? Like
yeah. Also, I don't know why the movie's trying to make it seem like he didn't pick up waterbending fairly easily, because he did. I feel it would have made more sense to make it seem like he's picking it up with Katara, so that they don't have to spend more time on it, or it would make more sense in the conclusion of the film.
it's it's only because they don't, there's no distinction in the movie of time passing at
That's
all.
true.
There's none. Like I said, hair growth is the easiest but one of the best ways to show time passing.
Yep.
And that's exactly what the show does.
I fucking okay. I changed my mind about General Zhao. Firelord Ozai is like the worst cast character of all time. I think for live action cartoon or anime adaptations. Like
I was waiting.
this is the least intimidating dude I've ever seen. Like I feel like he is a pizza guy that General Zhao's actor would fire. Like it's this is ridiculous. I find it odd that they also tried making the Fire Nation Indian dudes or whatever ethnicity they are.
That's
I think they're Indian.
by the show's rules, they're supposed to be Chinese and
Yeah,
Japanese, like a weird mix of the two.
Asia. Yeah,
But I don't know, man. Hope like
yeah.
again, that's the only reason I rewatched the movie. So that
Once
way,
again, oh yeah,
the
I just
bar,
realized.
the low bar is set for the Netflix
Oh
adaptation to
yeah,
just completely jump over it.
oh yeah. I just noticed too when Zuko was on the ship and he looked at a picture of him and his family. Zuko had, or not Zuko, Ozai had like the cartoons like version of his hair and chin beard thing, and he very clearly doesn't have that in the other scenes of the movie. So it's really odd that they made the picture look that way. The one he was looking at anyway. And then they try selling the Bossing Say shit with Iroh and Zuko just in some random Earth Village town.
Yeah,
It's really odd.
they really did want to make 3 movies. I think
Yeah.
at the very least there were plans. I don't know if Shyamalan wanted to make them, but there were plans. God, what else is there? I will go ahead and just say, by the way, I think the costumes and props are they're not entirely accurate, but they still look very good.
I disagree.
Really.
I think a lot of the costumes look Party City ish and kind of underwhelming. Uh, like the whole thing about the Fire Nation, and more so even the Fire Lord himself. They always have those big fucking shoulder pads and stuff, and they look really menacing when they come up to you, and they don't have that in the movie. And then all the soldiers have like helmets with ponytails instead of the ones with the three spikes that look like the fire logo. And it's just sure they look fine on just being costumes, but they lose all of the charm and character in just being like normal Asian armor, you know?
I didn't say it was great.
Yeah.
I think it passes. I think it passes with a low D.
Of the many flaws of this film, I think the costumes are the lower end of the concerns. I think the main trio's outfits are spot on, pretty well good for a live action movie.
Yeah.
Uh
The actor for Ong does not look good in those clothes
no.
at all, but if it was a better act like a better kid that looked like Aang, it might work. Remove the
Yeah.
hood. Remove the hood.
Yeah, of course.
I don't get why they decided to give him a hood.
Uh,
There's another thing. It's a change from the show. Aang's whole philosophy and that of all the air nomads is that all life is sacred. You know,
uh-huh.
fight in defense, but don't take lives type of philosophy.
Uh-huh.
Um, Aang is never conflicted about killing people once in the movie. He doesn't ever kill someone, but he never runs into a conflict worrying about potential deaths on the enemy side.
Uh,
Uh, and also the only like emotional conflicts he has in regards to fighting is that uh he communes with that dragon spirit thing, and the dragon spirit just straight up tells him the avatar is not meant to fight.
yeah.
Like that's just only
Even though
that's just an
half,
air monk thing.
yeah, even though like half the previous avatars he talks to at the end of the show are like, yeah, kill him, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like the only one
Even
that
the
doesn't outright say that is Roku, and he's like, "Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do," you know?
yeah, even the previous airbending uh avatar even straight up said there are times when you must uh destroy everything you believe in to protect the balance of the world or whatever.
Yeah,
She basically said your service is not to the air nomads, it's to the world. So it's like a complete inverse of everything that Aang is like meant to be conflicted with. It's not even like
yeah,
an inverse of his actual conflict of killing or not killing. It's a conflict of him wanting to fight but being
yeah.
told not to.
Hmm.
It's it's like what the heck?
Yeah.
Why? How do you preserve balance without making sacrifices? That was Avatar Aang's whole thing, his whole turmoil through the whole show.
Yeah. It's odd.
Eh, it's like again, I think as a rule you should not say something's bad just cuz it's worse than some other version of the story.
Uh-huh.
But if you just take out all the comparison that I just made and just go strictly with what it is, then it's a kid wanting to fight and to protect, the people he loves and cares about, the people he needs to protect to protect the fucking balance of the world, and
Yeah.
an ancient dragon spirit just saying no, don't do that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to preserve the balance, Aang. You fighting does not preserve the balance. The imbalance that's already present will just go away. It's like it makes no sense on its own, not even as a comparison.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the air nomad just like betrayed or this dude just betrayed Aang. That's fucked up.
I think that scene is kind of cool. For the
I
writing,
think it's fine.
for the writing, not the
Yeah.
actual like acting or anything that makes it a movie.
Yeah.
But the actual way the scene's written is actually that scene's pretty good. I think. You
It's
know,
fine enough.
it sounds like one of those one-off episodes that just sends the gang on just a little side mission.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Aang's gonna like go stare at statues of the previous avatars. Then he just gets double crossed by the guy that led him there. You know?
Hmm.
It's like, oh, that just sounds like an episode of Avatar. So that scene's good.
Yeah. I feel the pacing of this movie is also pretty bad because which is no surprise. Shyamalan's not very good at pacing films.
Of course.
Uh, it's just the first 20 minutes. I don't even remember what happened 10 minutes ago. You know, like so much is happening. Like I've said it since the movie came out, since I was 10 years old. The show was never meant to be put into film. I think
Yeah.
if you're gonna redo it in any way for whatever reason, a mini series type deal like Netflix is doing is the best way. Have like hour-long episodes and like 10 episodes a season or something, if that.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
Lines up perfectly with how many 20-minute episodes are in the actual show, pretty much.
yeah, pretty close. Obviously, they will add more scenes.
They will add more. They'll take stuff out. The whole thing.
Yeah, but still, Netflix show is probably not going to be a faithful adaptation, but it's going to be a good adaptation.
Yeah. Let me see something real quick.
At least, of course, that's what we hope. It'll definitely
Uh,
look good, unlike this movie.
yeah. Speaking of looking good, I want to mention. I think it looks okay for what the movie is like in comparison to the other movies' costumes. It's okay, but they butchered the Blue Spirit.
I was
Uh,
waiting for you to say that.
like you know, he looks like a '90s X-Men character, or a Sam Show character that would use like a giant glaive. You know, and it's just odd.
Yeah, in the show, the mask Zuko wore was like very quaint. You know, it was just
It's very small. It had no hair
it was
to it.
it was just a demon mask, and he just
Yeah,
wore a black outfit that covered the rest of his
yeah.
body.
And I want to mention too, for whatever reason, Zuko's doing like super weird mannerisms in the way he walks and shit when he's wearing the mask. Like he's walking like a fucking demon. And it's like his head's moving real weird.
Yeah,
And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
he's trying to pose as a demon, whereas in the show he was just masking his identity.
Yeah.
And that's the full extent of it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Oh man. And they don't even have the funny scene after they break away from the fort from the show. They don't even have the funny scene. Aang just
No.
leaves. They don't have Aang going. We could have. You think we could have been friends if we met sooner? And then Zuko just punches him.
Oh! Yeah.
They don't
Also,
have that.
they're just going for a neat little set piece instead of having Zuko do the smart thing and like be like, "Hey, I'm gonna fucking kill him if you don't let us go." You know. And
Yeah,
the whole reason this is happening on a fucking the air temple is so they can have the set piece with him in the practice area right now.
that's true.
And,
That is
and it
100% true.
it looks really dumb.
I also like the line Aang says. He's like, "This is the practice area," and
Yeah,
then just runs over. It's like, hey, audience, just so you know, the reason I'm going to have environmental advantage is because I know this place.
yeah.
As if, we couldn't just remember they're still at the air temple.
I honestly forgot because that's not where this happens in the show.
That's true, but
So
again,
do with that what you will.
then in that case, the argument would be our ability to retain memory of this movie on its own is so bad because it's so poorly paced that
Yes.
it has to remind us that he's at the air temple fighting.
Yeah.
Oh man. How long do you think you've been watching this movie?
I've been watching it for almost an hour. I am 48 minutes in.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the
Um.
movie was like nearing its
Oh
end point.
no! CG I forgot about that.
You forgot about
Why
what?
they CG Ang?
Oh,
I forgot about that. Why? I don't get like these stunts aren't particularly hard. You know,
they ran out of cables.
it's so gross looking. Like it's not even like he. Oh, it looks so bad. Sorry. Oh, now he's doing it.
How do you think the live action movies, if it got a sequel, how do you think Shyamalan would have handled the Jet and his crew? I forget what they're called.
Are they in this movie?
No.
Then he wouldn't have, because they're in book one.
Yeah, I know, but they become a lot more. They become extremely vital near the end of book two. So you would, kind of
The
have to put them
Kyoshi
in.
Warriors become a pivotal part of the whole plot,
I know
and they're not even in this. So I really don't think they would have set up
that
for
that
Jet at
it
all.
it makes me believe that he would have only like started to like bring these things in that he skips over when they become extremely important. That's just what it made me believe.
Yeah, but at that point, like, he didn't introduce the Kyoshi Warriors on Kyoshi's island or just wherever that statue happened to be, because it wasn't an island. It didn't look like. Um, I don't know if he was gonna set that shit up, he already missed his chance to. Uh, I think Jet would be really cool. Honestly, of all the things in the show, I feel like Jet and his gang would have been the coolest things to see in live action.
Yeah, because they're
Uh,
non-benders.
yeah, and
Non-benders are
he
fucking
has
cool.
he has the hook swords, and that's like one of the coolest weapons of all time.
Yeah,
But no, I don't think he would have done Jet and his crew. I do think he would have done Kyoshi Warriors.
you would have just
He,
put them
he
in.
probably he probably would have had them be in Bossing Sata off the rip, and then he would have had. I don't even know if he would have done the whole secret police thing.
What?
That's
That's
like,
extremely important.
it is, but is he really going to try and fit all that into 2 hours?
No.
Not even 2 hours. This movie's hardly an hour and a half. It's crazy, isn't it?
Imagine what could have been.
I'm
How
imagining.
how bad it could have been.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what was great about Day of Black Sun?
What's that?
The fact that every single little faction they ever interacted with that was still alive because Jet wasn't there, uh teamed up for the invasion, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine if it got to the third movie and it got to that part of the plot. What the fuck would they have done?
Probably just would have been a bunch of water tribe people.
Maybe a few Earth Kingdom, I mean.
Yeah.
It would have been so much more boring. There would have been no Boulder.
Yeah. I think another thing that if they continued the movies that they wouldn't have done. I don't know. I feel like they would have had to though, because it's a really like okay. So what I'm referring to is the Boiling Rock episodes,
Boiling
uh,
Rock.
and the little prison and the volcano in book three.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I feel like he would have tried to skip over that because on face value it's not very important, but really it is. Because one, it brings Sokka and Zuki back together and his dad, and it shows Azula's descent more into madness because her two friends leave her.
Yeah, and Mai has a really cool line.
Yeah,
Because remember, Azula said her whole philosophy is that it's fear that keeps people in line. And
yeah,
she said that like a long time before that episode.
hmm,
And then Mai comes up and says, I love Zuko more than I fear you.
yeah. It's just a
That
really good,
shit's cool.
yeah,
Man. Let's get back on track though and only talk about this movie.
yeah. I just got to the weird gas leak scene on the Fire Nation ship.
Where
Don't really know
Zuko
what to think of that.
dies.
Yeah, don't really know what to think of that.
Zuko's dead now. He's so
Yeah.
dead that he comes back.
You can really tell they didn't want you looking at Appa very much in this.
There are points where Appa looks right at the camera,
Yeah.
and those are the most horrifying moments in the whole movie. Um, I think Yue looks extremely good.
She always does.
I mean, like, as a live action
Yeah,
adaptation.
yeah, yeah. I know.
She looks extremely good. Like,
I'm almost there in
yeah.
the movie.
Like, I mentioned earlier when I was watching it that it took them almost 10 minutes to finally drop her name for, the people that watch the movie with no knowledge of the show,
Uh huh.
which means they were like, obviously it's going to be mostly Avatar The Last Airbender fans that'll watch it.
Yeah.
So, they see Yue and they immediately recognize, oh, that's Yue, because the costume looks exactly the same because it's actually really good.
Uh huh.
But still, you know,
Yeah.
you shouldn't judge a movie based on what you already know going in. It takes fucking 10 minutes for them to
Uh.
finally say the name.
Yeah. Fun fact, by the way, if you didn't know, the actress that plays Yui also voiced Asami in Legend of Korra.
That's neat.
Yeah. Just let that be known.
Why do you know all these fun facts about actors?
Because I'm looking them up as I watch the movie.
Oh, okay.
And then see now, I'm saying that now, but the next time I say something like that exact fun fact, the next time I tell someone that, they'll say, "Why do you know these things?" And I'll say, "I just know them," and they just build on top of each other. It's funny. Let's see here. I forgot. The chick that plays Katara is the little kid in Transformers: Age of Extinction, or not little
Really?
kid. No, she's not the little kid. She plays Mark Wahlberg's daughter. There you go.
Well, that's what I thought when you said little kid.
Yeah, but yeah, that's her. She really hasn't been in anything else big. Uh, let's see here. The guy that plays Sokka, I feel like I've seen. Oh yeah, the guy that plays Sokka's in the Twilight movies. So now you know that.
Shit, who does he play?
Let me look up. He plays Jasper Hale, one of the vampires.
I don't remember who that is by name, so I'm gonna look
He's
it
one
up.
of the many fucking vampires. Also, a fun fact: he's 35 years old. He was 25 when he played Sokka.
Oh, him?
Yes,
Holy, he looks
you see
nothing
it.
alike.
That's funny. Oh
That's
no.
crazy.
Let's see here.
Um,
Okay, here we go. The kid that plays Ong is only in this movie and Cowboys and Aliens.
he's done nothing else.
Nothing else. He's also 3 years, or yeah, he's 3 years older than us. Just so you know. Let that sink in.
I was more of a man when that movie came out.
Yeah, pretty much.
He hasn't even done any voice acting roles?
No.
Holy shit.
And you know what's funny? The guy that plays Zuko is probably my favorite actor from this movie because he was also in Slumdog Millionaire and Lion and a few other things that aren't as good as those movies. But it's just a shame that he plays, or that just that he's in this movie. Really,
Sure is a shame that this movie.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. This movie is just a shame. I'm happy there was only one because the other two would have just been worse because the other seasons are way cooler than book one,
Yeah.
and they would have just ruined them. I hate that all the kids in the Water Tribe look like fucking Hufflepuffs from fucking Hogwarts, just like, oh, look, it's magic. Like they live here, they should be completely used to people waterbending when Aang does it.
But only Katara is a waterbender in the. Or wait, are you talking about in the northern tribe?
Yeah, the Northern Tribe.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's a nice detail to shit on.
Yeah, I think it's funny that the guy in the Northern Water Tribe that's teaching him looks like Theoden from the Two Towers. I think that's pretty funny. I forgot they pronounced it General Eero.
Yeah, it's Eero. God. Like, here's the weird thing. Like, a lot of the names in Avatar: The Last Airbender are extremely influenced from Japanese names and
Uh huh.
Chinese names and just other Eastern names. Um, so in all technicality, those are more proper pronunciations,
Hmm.
but that's not the pronunciations they went with the show.
Yeah.
And also, Avatar is an English word,
Yeah.
so why the fuck do they pronounce it Avatar? And also, some of the characters pronounce it Avatar.
Also, I just found to what I've been paying attention. I just saw the first hint as to how far in the timeline we are. Whenever Yue is walking around with Sokka for the first scene they're together with, she says, "I've had fun these past few weeks with you."
Yes, that's the only gauge for time.
That's amazing.
And that amount of time passing makes sense. It would take a few weeks to mobilize an entire fleet of ships.
And for Aang to get it good at waterbending.
Yeah, at least proficient. That amount of time passing makes sense, but that's the only time it ever gauges time. God. Oh yeah, also, did you notice that when Aang was like prisoner, he was like chained up in the air and shit?
Yeah.
When he was broke free, he had no scars left over from the shackles, even though he was literally hanging there.
Yeah.
Um, that's all.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's, ugh, makes no sense. There should be injuries.
Yeah.
You'll notice quite a few characters in the background, by the way, during the final big battle in the Northern Tribe. That a lot of just background characters that are just fighting, actually do die, and Aang
Uh,
does nothing to save them.
that's amazing.
Yes, in fact, there is a specific moment where it's not even a background character. It's a character, a random character, that the camera focuses on for a second because Aang is like running upstairs to pass by him,
Hmm.
and he kind of like kicks the Fire Nation dude off of him because he's just passing by, but it
Yeah.
also kind of like staggers the Water Tribe dude at the same time just a little bit. And the
Yeah.
Fire Nation dude just gets up, runs up to the water dude, and just like kills him. And Aang just keeps going.
I think also I'm noticing, especially in this coming to the third act of the film, I say that barely over halfway through it. I feel like a lot of the scenes so far, they didn't know exactly when they were filming it, what order the scenes would be in. Like it goes Sokka talking to Yue, Iroh talking to Zuko, like hard cut to Iroh talking to Zuko about him thinking the attack was on him, and now into Katara and Aang dancing, not even waterbending. Um, However, that cut's not too bad because then the black ash comes down over them.
Yeah,
Okay, it
but
actually built up a little bit.
yeah, if you treat the whole movie as just the third act of the movie, it makes a lot more sense why it's so bad.
Yeah,
Because it's very clear they didn't really want to make a movie for book one water. They just
yeah,
wanted to make a movie for the battle in the Northern Water Tribe.
Yeah.
Because it's almost half the movie.
Um. Also, right here, whenever Zuko's going off on his little boat to sneak into the tribe, whenever Iroh's talking to him, he's looking at like flat eye level, not looking down at all, even though Zuko's looking up to him. So Iroh was not actually looking at him when he was saying those things. Just saying.
He hated making the movie.
Oh yeah,
He hated it so much. Uncle Iroh.
Uncle Iroh. That's right.
I bet he was the only guy that knew about Avatar. And because of that, he was so mad that this movie sucks.
That's awesome.
So all of those are just his instances of rebellion against the director.
Yeah,
I would
I think
bet.
it's
I would
funny.
bet.
Huh? What?
What?
I think it's funny
Uh.
that I think it's funny Zuko bangs on the ice instead of just immediately using firebending on it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you surely you went down there with the plan of using firebending?
Well, you require a source of fire to firebend, apparently. Zuko is
That's
a rare breed, being able to use his chi directly to firebend.
that's me shitting on this movie.
Yeah. Um, I guess just the royal family of the Fire Nation is able to directly use firebending
Uh,
through their chi, and literally
awesome.
everyone else requires a source of fire already existing.
Hmm. I do kind of like the set piece in the Northern Water Tribes little cave area.
Yeah,
I think it looks nice.
with the spirit pond or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty. It has a cherry tree. You can tell it's inspired by Japanese culture a little bit,
yeah.
just like the show.
Chances are, if a location has a cherry tree, it'll look pretty good. Just like the Shirai Ryu Fire Gardens in Mortal Kombat 11.
Yes.
It's
Is
the
it time to
prettiest.
talk about Mortal Kombat 11 instead of
You knew
this?
you knew it would happen.
I did. I was waiting for it.
Um,
And do you want to
no,
know how much I was waiting for it?
huh?
I already have an image ready.
That is
I
amazing.
gotta add it in now.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm dead fucking serious.
You were fully prepared for me to talk about Mortal Kombat 11 in our last Airbender review stream.
Yes. Hang on. I should have had this a lot more prepared. I kind of half prepared it. All right. Here it is. They're here. It's
Oh
the
my god,
boys.
I cannot believe it. This is amazing. Wow. Okay.
Look, Raiden's going into the Avatar state.
Raiden. Uh,
If Shyamalan directed a Mortal Kombat movie, he would have pronounced Raiden as Raiden.
yeah, I'm happy that it's not pronounced Raiden, even though some characters in the story mode say it that way sometimes. I'm happy it's not because when you're talking about him and you're talking about Raiden from Metal Gear Rising, you can always tell the difference between Raiden and Raiden,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yes. But that, you know, they are two different things.
Oh
So,
yeah,
at the same time, uh, Liu Kang would be pronounced Liu Kang in the Shyamalan
oh
adaptation.
yeah. Holy shit! Okay, so I'm still watching the movie. By the way, Katara just got hit by Zuko's fire blast and ate shit.
Yeah.
She has eaten shit several times in this movie.
That little scene made me laugh out loud watching it alone. Just
Uh
because that's the only time in the whole movie where it was a fight scene and it actually looked like there was impact.
yeah, that's
Cause
fucking funny.
Like, there is that scene earlier during the Earth Village prison break thing where Sokka pulls out his boomerang and chucks it, and like two Fire Nation dudes get like whammed in the face.
Uh,
But they are like out of focus blur people, so it doesn't count. That
yeah,
that bit with Katara getting fucked over is entirely in focus, or not entirely, but you know, it's more in focus than that.
yeah.
So it counts. They can't show children getting brutalized in a movie, or else Shyamalan is gonna get sued, I guess. Um, yeah, that's what I think. You know, whatever. I need another shot. um, what else is there to talk about? Um,
What, the movie or Mortal Kombat 11?
either or.
Um,
This whole review has transcended.
it is no longer what it once was.
Yeah,
Uh, in other news, Sector and Cyrax will probably be the next DLC characters in MK11, which is cool.
that is cool.
Um, hopefully
Sector.
Cyrax is as broken as he was in MK9. Um,
Hopefully, he says.
hopefully, because all I want to see online is Cyrax players. That's a joke, Ed. Please don't make it happen.
Don't worry.
Um,
If those are true and confirmed, then I will buy the game and I will buy a PS Plus subscription and I will play Kung Lao so that way you get your Kung Lao fill because I know you love that.
I'll hold you to that because they're they're pretty well confirmed because they're in the files already.
I had my fingers crossed. Haha.
You bitch!
Ha ha ha.
I'm so angry.
I always do main Kung Lao when I do get into a Mortal Kombat game though.
I've only ever found Kung Lao enjoyable in MK11 or MKX with a buzzsaw.
That's true.
I've found buzzsaw to be my favorite variation for him because you could just do his forward 4-2 combo and then just do the EX hat throw.
Yeah.
And since it's buzzsaw, they just stay in the air like and just get destroyed. And you can do that with like up to 3 times. It's awesome.
I have a similar opinion. It's basically the same, but just change it to I always find him fun, but I found him the most fun in X just because of
Uh huh.
Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Because he's my
I like
boy. He's Kung Lao.
something I miss from X that's not in 11 also is that you could throw juggle people. Like you could hit them with a throw. So you could do like a 40% combo with Kung Lao and then end it with his forward throw where he just fucking punches your face 20 times and do the brutality with that. But for whatever reason they took that feature out so you can't end juggle combos with throws anymore. And it's just really dumb.
Is this supposed to be a review of The Last Airbender?
It definitely was. I'm
It
still watching the movie. It's got
mm,
30 minutes left.
uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, at least 5 of those minutes are credits.
Aang just did like a front flip with his head.
Yeah, he
Oh,
did do that.
this is amazing.
Honestly, the little fight scene of Aang versus Zuko isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's just it's funny because they actually do kind of good moves throughout.
Yeah.
It made me laugh just because the rest of the movie is just a the rest of the movie is a juxtaposition to that one scene in particular.
Yeah. The theme that's playing whenever the Fire Nation finally and like gets through the walls of the tribe reminds me a lot of like Star Wars esque themes, and that's funny because it sounds like oh my god, that guy just froze to death.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna get more apple juice, and then I'm gonna put vodka in it.
That's awesome.
I know. I'll be back. Entertain the crowd, Donovan. We have no
Always.
viewers.
So where I'm at right now in the film, uh, Zuko is letting Aang escape for the millionth fucking time in the last hour. Uh, and Aang is hiding, doing like pebble water tricks to distract him, like he's a fucking horror game character, throwing fucking bottles across a room. I'm pretty sure Aang just flipped him off too. All right, he's standing behind him, just completely stunning on him now. It's honestly really disrespectful. Okay, now they're just fighting. They're not even using bending. Aang has no reason to win this fight. He's Zuko is has the advantage in every way. What the hell? Oh my god. Oh, that's neat. And I think Katara just said a line while her, Sokka, and Yue were running through the crowd, and it looked and sounded like it was just completely ADR. And I love when movies do that.
I do too. I didn't hear a thing you said.
I was talking about how Sokka and Yue were running with Katara through the crowd, and Katara said, "Calm down, we'll find him." And it sounded and looked like really shitty ADR. And then she just shows up and freezes Zuko, even though they were nowhere near this location, as far as
Yeah.
I could tell, anyway.
All right. I have Smirnoff Blue, which is 100 proof, by the way.
Nice.
Smirnoff Red is like I think 70.
Yeah, it's not very much.
So, uh,
Bottoms up.
bottoms up. It's mixed into apple juice. Don't forget.
Splendid.
Oh yeah, that's positively awful tasting.
You should mix it with wine.
Oh, of course. I'm gonna get some Sprite and mix it into Merlot wine.
The best mixed drink I've ever had was red, white, and cherry mixed with blue Hawaiian punch and Sprite.
Oh, that sounds good.
It was really good.
It tastes not very good.
It tastes so very not good.
It's
That's how
not
I feel
bad.
about this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Appa's face looks kind of like Ang Lee's Hulk from like 2003. Like just really odd. Like it's just it's like a humanoid face kind of with the eyes and mouth, but then it's just like really wide and like smushed. Also, it's a fucking tragedy. Aang never uses his little air ball to travel in this movie.
It is a crime, in fact.
Yeah.
Didn't Aang like invent the air ball?
Yes, that's why he was an airbending prodigy.
Yes. All right. Then yeah, it actually it's not a joke. It's just a straight crime that it's not in there.
Yeah.
It, oh God. Also, do you remember that little like uh halo that he can make with air,
Little halo.
like in his hands? He'll like put his hands above each other and make a halo out of airbending.
Yeah.
That's the most impressive form of airbending in canon.
Uh huh.
because like sure you can like summon tornadoes or whatever the fuck with airbending, but making a small ass halo which is like perfectly shaped and consistent
Hmm.
and spinning
Yeah.
requires perfect control, which is why it's one of the most impressive things ever, even though in the show it's used as a gag, as a party trick.
Hmm.
So yeah, both of those things not being present is a crime.
Yes, it is.
I would tolerate it if it only had one. Uh, it should have had both because, as far as we know, the only thing special about Ong is that he is just the Avatar.
Uh huh.
He has airbending and he's the last airbender, sure, but like he was so much more in the show. He was a fucking airbending like god. I
Yeah.
burped. He was an airbending master at like the age of like 4.
Wow. That just did a really fucking weird zoom in on Iroh.
I'm trying to
And
remember.
now he's firebending for some reason. I don't know what he's. Oh, he's making fire out of nothing. That's why they're saying it. But Zhao is such a bitch. Like, Iroh just held a fucking fist of fire up at him, and he's like, "I'll just go."
The Zuko versus Zhao Agni Kai was in water, right?
Well, yeah, Zhao dies at the end of the fucking season.
Oh yeah, I forgot he actually dies.
Yeah, and it's symbolic how he dies because he could have been saved by Zuko, but he's like, "Nah, fuck that. I don't want help." And he's an actual like character in the show, and he's not just go.
He's not just a force.
Yeah, he's not even a force in the movie. He's just
He's a lap.
Ozai.
He's a lap dog.
Yeah, Ozai said to go kill this fish. I'm gonna do that and then run away.
You know what makes underlings great as like a villain?
Huh?
Whenever they are so strong and powerful that it takes the heroes to overcome them, like it takes a lot for them to overcome these underlings.
What?
It leaves the audience and the characters wondering, well, if that's just an underling, what the fuck is the big bad?
Yeah.
How strong is he? And Zhao does not do that very well at all in
No.
The Last Airbender.
Also, it's not as bad, I think. But the guy that plays Sokka, I'm getting real Hayden Christensen vibes from Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and I think that's funny. Sokka. Last Airbender, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm
I
here all
wasn't
week.
laughing at you.
Oh, sad I am.
Laugh at a joke. You did not.
Ah, funny joke.
And there he is. It's Aang.
That's fucking funny. He said, I don't give a damn who you are. That's just funny.
Look, it's the full cast of Avatar: The Last Airbender. They're all
Yes,
here.
all the important ones. Ugh.
Where you at?
Where am I at?
Yeah.
General Zhao and Zuko just are they're having their confrontation.
Uh, Funny you say that.
Is it?
It's not a confrontation, really.
No.
It's like the only moment where Iroh actually acts a little bit like Iroh in the whole movie, I think.
Uh huh.
Because he's just like, no, Zuko, don't fight him. And then he gives like a whole wisdom about it. And then Zuko's just like, alright. He doesn't fight him.
He didn't even give him a wisdom. He just said, "There's too many waterbenders here now. There's no way you can take the Avatar. Don't worry about it." And he's
Oh,
like, "That's a good point." He's
I must have misremembered it. Never mind.
yeah. The only time he ever sounds like Iroh in this movie is when they're like first getting to the Northern Water Tribe, and Zhao's like, "We're gonna go see this fish. Have you heard of it?" And he goes, "Yes, it would be a great honor to meet the Moon Spirit." And he's like, uh, without telling Iroh they're gonna kill him, he's like, "Well, hopefully you get to see it."
Oh yeah. There also is another moment where Iroh sounds like Iroh. When they go to that little village, him and Zuko, and they're just kind of laying over there.
uh,
And then Iroh's just like, you know, Zuko, there are many pretty girls in this village.
yeah.
That's exactly what Iroh would do.
Oh yeah. So just four random water dudes come up and kill Zhao.
Yeah, yeah, unnamed water tribesmen.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure in the show, Aang actually kills him while in the Avatar state. I might be wrong with that though.
I don't remember. I know he fucks them up, but I don't know if he kills them.
Aang does a lot of shit when he goes into the Avatar state at the end of book one.
Yeah, because he doesn't control it really.
No.
At that moment in time, it's like,
Oh my god! I see what you're talking about when Aang kills the guy. He just like summoned a bunch of ice spikes and just fucking impaled him with like 8 of them.
yeah, there's
Oh my
that, but that's
god.
not what I was talking about. Just wait like 4 more
Oh, he's
seconds.
on the stairs. I remember you talking about stairs.
Did you see it?
I guess not.
Is he already past the stairs?
Yeah.
How'd you miss it? It's
I
funny.
don't,
A
I don't
random
know. I
water
didn't.
tribe dude gets fucked over by Aang and gets killed by a fire tribe dude, or a Fire Nation dude.
I didn't notice it.
It's funny. And Aang just doesn't even look back. He just wants to like summon a tidal wave. He's like, oh, tsunami.
Oh, tsunami.
Here's a fun fact. Do you like those?
I love them.
Every time we go to an ocean, which is usually in the meaning like Florida, uh,
Uh,
Nick will always walk up to me and just stare at the ocean, and be like, you know, what if a fucking like tsunami just like comes and just kills us right now? And then he'll just go swim.
that's awesome.
He says it every time.
There's so many instances in this movie where Aang just runs like a little kid, and it looks fucking stupid. Where he should have used the air ball.
Yeah, and the airball's faster.
Yeah, Like they wouldn't even have to explain it. They just show him do it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he's an airbender. That makes sense."
Yeah, you know? Like, there's moments where, like, there was that moment where he dove between the two clashing armies and just like separated them with his airbending, and just like did like a weird like slide
Yeah,
across. Like you could see he was airbending under his feet
yeah,
to go a bit faster.
yeah. Then he just goes into the Avatar state here, which is fine.
That's what he does in the show.
It's what he does.
But again, it deviates because he has perfect control over his actions in the
Yeah,
movie, whereas in the show he goes in the Avatar state and he's just like,
he just becomes a water Godzilla in the show.
yeah, he goes bonkers because he doesn't know how to control it.
I love that all the Fire Nation soldiers just see the giant water, like the giant wave, and they're like, "Well, shit, we better go back to the ship." And it's like, is that really where you'd want to go? Like, think about it. You know?
It makes sense if some of them did that, but and like the rest like stayed behind because it's just a few people panicking, but it's
Uh huh.
literally all of them are doing
Yeah.
that. So it makes it seem like they're like very like
Stupid.
yeah, they're just consciously making a decision and they are extremely stupid.
Yeah.
And also none of the water tribesmen try to like intercept them and capture them, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, "Hey, checkmate, drop your weapons," you know? None of them do that. Yeah, both sides
Yeah.
are retarded.
Oh, and he just drops the wave. He doesn't even actually like throw it at him.
Yeah, it's a nuclear deterrent.
That is a really lame ending to this movie. I don't
Again,
remember it being that lame.
again, it's only that lame because Ong is a very boring character, and for some reason they decided to make it so when he enters the Avatar state, he's in perfect control. So since he is still himself in the Avatar state,
It's still boring.
he's extremely boring.
Oh man.
It's very consistently dumb.
My only question at this point is what Linkin Park song is going to play during the credits.
I didn't watch the credits at all. I actually don't know what song plays.
Can't wait to find
It might
out.
just be an original like composition.
You know what would be awesome? You know what would almost completely redeem this movie?
What?
Is if the credits started playing and it was and it was like the actual fucking ending credits to the show. That'd be cool. But I can almost guarantee you with a matter of fact that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I doubt. I for one, I doubt it's going to be, and for two, if it was, it would not redeem the movie
No, I said that as a joke.
in the slightest.
No, I said that as a joke.
Oh, okay, okay.
The best part of the movie would be the credits, and you never want that to be the case.
The best part of the movie is this collage I've made.
Yeah, yeah, that is probably the best thing. That's that fucking do it yourself craft ang is fucking
By the way,
retarded.
I searched up Avatar Aang Funko Pop.
That's
So I
awesome.
was trying to find like an Aang in the Avatar state Funko Pop, and this came up as like result 3.
That is amazing.
It's an Etsy. It's on Etsy. So
Oh,
someone takes pride in making this.
Jesus Christ. Alright. I'm onto the Ozai stinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
He's like, Azula, my daughter. There will not be a second movie. Yes, father. She already looks kind of manic, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not what Azula is supposed to be at that point. She's
No.
supposed to be very
Also,
cool and composed.
Ozai says that Sozin's comet will be returning in 3 years. So over the next two movies, it was supposed to be 3 years between the end of this one and the end of the third one.
That was probably to compensate for the actors actually aging in real lifetime.
Probably.
But yeah, it's a good movie, right?
Yeah. Also, Ozai asks Azula, "Do you accept this unspeakably important task I'm putting in your hands?" That's not something he would have done in the show. In the show, he just says, "Hey, go do this, or you're a disappointment, just like your brother."
Yeah, he would. That's how he would do it. It make I this is entirely like conjecture. All right. Do you think that M Night Shyamalan has never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I really don't think he had. Written, produced, and
I,
directed by him.
I'm glad I'm
Splendid.
not alone in that opinion.
I also want to mention, just real quick, Azula's outfit she's wearing there at the end looks like Shang Tsung's Grandmaster outfit in MK11.
Oh, so we're back.
Yeah, we're back. I had to bring it back. You took the time to prepare an image for it. I had to bring it back. It always comes back to Mortal
It
Kombat.
always comes back.
Let's be real.
Uh,
Also, the credits theme is very fucking boring.
oh, what a shock.
Yeah. Not only that, but the credits themselves are pretty goddamn boring to look at.
Well, Donovan,
I cannot believe I just watched this whole movie.
I was about to say final
Uh,
thoughts, but it looks like you're already beginning.
yeah. Final thoughts. Uh, honestly, I'm as a huge fan of the show. The movie can only be disappointing, and that is exactly what it is. But but objectively looking at it just as a movie going experience, it's pretty fucking boring. Um, the visuals are okay for 2010. Like, let me take a look. Oh shit! I just dropped my fucking entire PC on the ground. Let me take a look. What other movies came out in 2010? Uh, just to I accidentally typed 2012. Oops. Let's see here. On the CGI. Okay, so this is the same year Inception and Clash of the Titans came out. So there's no excuse for a ball of water to look half-assed in this movie. Um, that's all I have to say about the CG. The costumes were okay. I feel that's one of the many places they missed the mark, though. I don't remember a single piece of the score except for when the Fire Nation finally broke into the Northern Water Tribe and it sounded like Star Wars for 5 seconds. Um, I think most of the acting was really not good, and I think the ones that I would put into a separate category were awful. Um, I think just no one really cared about this movie. You know, like I can't even begin to imagine what it was like on set for this film. Uh, it just sucks. There's no which way around it. You can only wipe your ass one way, and that way it sucks. This I okay. So at the end of the day, I really cannot imagine the Netflix one being any worse than this. Um, and of course, the Netflix show is going to have a huge advantage over this movie, in that the movie came out first and everyone hated it.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
they know exactly what not to do. However, they don't know what to do, even though what they should do is just let the show be its thing. Uh, it doesn't get to be remade, but when they do shit like this, two idiots get to make an hour and a half review about a shitty movie. So,
A shitty hour and a half review for a
well, it's
shitty
only
movie.
it's only fitting. We got to keep the quality in line.
Yeah, double negatives and all.
Double negatives. But at the end of the day, I really do think that the MK11 Aftermath pack really did enhance the story and make it better than X. Not as cool as 9.
That was
Uh,
too fluid. You got me, Donovan.
that's good.
I didn't even notice you were talking about Mortal Kombat for like 4 seconds of that.
That's awesome. But yeah, um, really, Avatar's back where it needs to be as far as
In the
the
hands of the
hype
people.
in the hands of the people. All we need now, by the good grace of God and the Holy Mother Mary, an Arxis fighting game with Avatar
Yeah.
characters. I'll take just a fighting game. I don't care if it's fucking random
Yeah,
company.
yeah, I agree. That's the true and
Um,
final takeaway from the M Night Shyamalan The Last Airbender movie.
is that there needs to be more good
Avatar,
Airbender
yeah,
things.
Avatar content.
Yes. Not that the show isn't more than enough. Uh, like this show makes me look back. At the end of okay, so having watched this movie again, it's really not as bad as I remember it being. As a film,
Okay.
just completely disconnected from the show. I remember it being a lot more boring as a kid because there wasn't a lot of action, and when there was action, you could barely see the airbending, um, and the firebending, and the earthbending, and the waterbending. They all look so fucking stupid in this movie. I have no idea why they decided to do that. Uh, I feel like they decided to do that so the action set pieces more fell in line with the slow pacing of the film, but at that point, make it just faster paced. You can make fast paced 2.5 hour movies. Just look at Avengers movies and stuff. Those movies feel like half an hour, but they're really like fucking 150 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And even Endgame
so
was 3 hours, and it feels kind of like two.
yeah, it can be done fairly quick if you keep the pacing
Yeah.
consistent throughout the movie. Which this movie is consistent in its pacing, but in a very bad way that ruins what it just doesn't match the vibe of the show.
It's a really bad tempo for
Yeah,
what the movie should be.
yeah. I honestly feel like I would have more fun watching all of book one in one sitting.
Exactly.
You know, and that the whole thing just goes back, and it's just wow, they really got it on the first try with the show. You know,
Yes.
so good for them. But no, this movie just makes me look back and think, God, Korra was not that bad. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I do know. Watching only
and
4 episodes of Korra.
yeah, seriously, I've watched like half of season one. I do plan on watching it sooner than later. Uh, as soon as I'm done with this uh new Combat League coming out in MK11. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to get to the stinger if there is one. I'm pretty sure there is one, isn't there? Or is there not?
Like a post-credit stinger?
Like a post credits one?
No.
There isn't?
What? No, of course not.
Okay, well, you never know.
Well, it's on. I assume you're watching on a Netflix, so you can just kind of just like go through
Well, I didn't want to get
the
spoiled.
timestamp. Okay, true.
All right, well, that was the movie. I just watched its entirety during this live stream. I hated almost every second of it.
Almost is a keyword.
Almost. The only very few seconds of the film where I enjoyed it is when Katara flung like a fucking ragdoll. I think both those instances were really funny.
Also, when
Uh,
Avatar Ong did a backflip by bouncing off his head.
that was honestly really impressive, and I wish I could do that without breaking my neck, of course.
Well, yeah. So,
Um,
final ratings out of 10. I'm gonna place mine at a very, very solid 3.
I'm gonna give mine uh, probably a 2.5.
Oh,
Because
you're going
honestly,
halves. All right.
I'm even if we're not doing halves, I would go closer to a 2 because the movie's barely an hour and a half, like I said, and it manages to feel like a lot longer. Like if I were watching that by myself, it probably would have taken me at least 2 sittings to watch it. Um, it's a brutal fucking movie. Uh, the writing is not good. The effects are honestly not that great for 2010. Like I said, it's the same year Clash of the Titans and fucking Inception came out. So, if they can do the same buildings caving in that Doctor Strange did like 6, 7 years later in 2010 in Inception, surely they can make a ball of water or like a little blast of fire look good in this movie, but they really don't. I think the CG would have been fine if it were quick, like in the show, and not just this big build up for like a
Yeah.
fucking like little string of fire.
Yeah,
I
because,
really do think there's no excuse for it with so
a
much
lot,
setup to a single move.
right, because a lot of people will kind of shit on bad looking CG that's being masked as moving extremely fast.
Yeah,
And then when you slow it down, it's like, yeah, the CG just looks bad, but that's why they made it look fast, so it doesn't
yeah,
distract you.
yeah,
Poor to decent CG moving extremely slowly just ends up making it just look awful no matter how hard you try.
yeah. Also,
Because then you
I
focus
think
on it.
yeah, CG Aang looks really weird, and I
Yeah.
find it really unnecessary. They should have done what they did for Logan, where when they cast Daphne Keane as X-23, uh, they didn't cast her just because she was a little kid that could like cry on command or whatever the fuck. They cast her because she could do the stunts,
Yeah.
you know. And that when you're faced between when you're in the situation where you have to have a kid actor, there's no way around it. You can't have a short person or just a really young looking adult. When you have to have a child actor, if they can't act, at least let them be able to do the stunts. You know,
Yes.
none of those stunts in that movie were particularly like difficult looking, honestly. Of course, there are some things where he would be airbending to like slide under something, but at that point, just put him on some wires, pull him across the room while he's like leaning backwards. It's not a very hard thing to do when filmmaking, and honestly, it saves you a lot of money. Um, so I find no reason for why they use CG Ang or Ong on multiple occasions for several minutes at a time. It seemed like um, it's just really odd to me, and I feel like also it probably would have been more expensive to do this, but I feel like if they made Appa a practical effect, kind of like in the same vein as the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, how they just made like really big things and just kind of filmed
Yeah.
filmed green screen around it and shit. Like that would have been really nice. Like I wouldn't have cared if the background looked kind of iffy if Appa just looked real, like and they were actually sitting on top of something instead of just a green block in a green room. you know.
Yeah.
Uh, Final thoughts though. The Earth Kingdom has fallen. The movie was not good. Not as bad as I remember it being because in 2010 I had just finished watching the show for like the third time in a row on Nickelodeon or on Nicktoons rather, and my disappointment was immeasurable, and my day was ruined back in 2010. But now it's whatever. Is what it is.
would you say that spending uh almost 2 hours by this point watching and talking about the last Airbender was worth it?
Yeah, because I got to talk about Mortal Kombat too.
Good point. Good point. I think that's a good place to stop.
I agree.
That's the moral of the story here.
Yeah.
Um, if you ever think about watching The Last Airbender, just remember there's always something
Just
greater out
don't
there.
even bother. Just go play Mortal Kombat 11's Aftermath DLC. Just,
Yeah,
just, just go do it. The story
yeah.
mode's good. It's fun.
Well, say goodbye, Donovan.
Goodbye, Donovan.
Goodbye.